Football isn't just a sport. It's a dangerous game of massive bodies colliding into one another. And while it may seem obvious that this sport can do extraordinary damage to brains and bodies, it's taken far too long for the NFL, the medical community, and football fans to fully reckon with this. NFL players were diagnosed with more concussions in 2017 than in any season since the league began sharing the data back in 2012. There were 281 reported concussions during the preseason and regular season, including practices. The previous high was 275 in 2015. In 2017, teams reported a total of 56 concussions during practices. That number was 32 in 2016, and averaged 44 between 2012 and 2015. Of the 56 practice concussions, 45 occurred during the preseason. Most concussions occur without losing consciousness. Symptoms are imbalance, headache, confusion, memory loss, vision, hearing, and mood change, also fatigue. Reports show an increasing number of retired NFL players who have suffered concussions have developed memory and cognitive issues such as dementia, Alzheimer's, depression, and chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is CTE. CTE is a degenerative disease of the brain and is associated with repeated head traumas like concussions. On February 17, 2011, former Chicago Bears defensive back Dave Durson, that was 50 years old, committed suicide with a gunshot wound to the chest rather than his head, so his brain can be researched for CTE. Boston University researchers found CTE in Durson's brain, the same disease found in other deceased NFL players. A 2015 study found that former NFL players who began football before age 12 fared worse on cognitive assessments than those who started later in their teens. And this held true even controlling for a number of years played. A study on the brains of deceased football players also found a link between early play and CTE. Athletes who began playing a tackle football before age 12 developed the cognitive and behavior symptoms of CTE 13 years earlier on average than those who started playing later in their teenage years. Now that I know about concussions, I know that NFL, honestly, any sport can cause a concussion, but the NFL plays it more safe than college will and more safe than high school football will. They don't really care when it comes down to college and high school, but once you get to the NFL, it's more of that they care about the concussions and a player's safety. And I have done research once before on concussions, and more concussions, of course, happen with football because their heads are always banged against each other. It doesn't matter if you have a helmet on or not. You can still feel a heavy impact through that helmet.